Loneliness. This is one of the reasons that on average 18 men a day in the USA alone kill themselves. If it's just 18 in just the USA, imagine what that number is like worldwide. I looked, but no one's like done the research to add all that up and stuff. But must be in the hundreds. And that's only people we know about, man. There's people who go missing for weeks, months, and they find them hanging under a bridge. Young men, as young as like 14. It's disgusting. But I believe that there is ways for us to stop this and to end this epidemic. It's just a loneliness epidemic. Imagine this. I'm hanging out with two of my mates and two of their girlfriends, and we're going down to the beach and going swimming. And this is like an area where no one really goes. It's a rock beach. It's really cool. So it's literally just us there. There's no one else around for like ages. And we're all just like messing about, swimming around, what you do when you go swimming with your mates. And it was, the sun's setting, so it's just, I don't know, I just looked at it from a wider perspective, and I just kind of thought, it would be nice to have what they have, and to be able to, just, I don't know, it's just kind of when I realised that this whole, like, Sigma, you do everything on your own, be a lone wolf, bro. The lone wolf dies alone. You can't just live your life like that, man. It's just not feasible to be able to live like that. And that's just when I realised you need people around you, strong people who can support you and help you whenever you are down or you need a hand, or when anything happens, when shit goes south, because shit is gonna go south. You are never gonna live your life like constantly up here. You are gonna have low points, and in those low points you need someone to plunge down as far as you are and bring you back up. And yeah, most men nowadays don't have that. They did a survey. 15% of men admitted to not having a best friend. 12% of men admitted to not having a close friend. How bad is that? 12% of men. If there was 10 people, there was 10 of us in a room, more than one person wouldn't have any close friends. And nearly 2 of them wouldn't even have a best friend. Like, that's nuts. That is not how humans should live. We are tribe, colony animals. We are, what's the word? Social. Yeah, we are social creatures. We need the stimulation of other people to make us happy and live. But most men can't get that nowadays. And I believe there's 3 reasons why, and I'll tell you what they are now. First reason is we don't talk to anyone anymore. Like face to face, we don't speak to anyone. Like if I wanted to speak to one of my mates, I wouldn't call him and ask him to meet up, because that's, completely impractical. No, I just chuck him a voice note or a message telling him what I wanted or what I wanted to say. I'm extremely guilty of this, but people just go outside. Like the amount of people I see going about like outside, doing their stuff. They've got like AirPods in or whatever, some knockoff AirPods or Samsung Buds or something, bro. I don't even know. There's so many nowadays. Bloody Raycons. But you don't when was the last time? Just Great question. When was the last time that you walked past someone and you said good morning or hey or hello to a complete stranger, but you probably can't even remember it? And this is an actionable step. Next time you leave the house, make it your goal to say hello, good morning, or something along those lines, some kind of greeting. You literally just say it as you're walking past each other. Literally just say, all right, or morning. It's just a passing comment. That's it. But I bet you can't even remember the last time you did that. And I try to make it a habit of mine that every time I leave the house, I say that or do that. And, I only ever have one headphone in when I leave the house now. It's normally my left. So that, if I do pass someone and they're on my right, hello, all right? It's crazy that, people are so socially awkward nowadays. They don't even have the social skills to say hello to someone as they pass them on the street, bro. It's nuts. And just removes that boundary when you start doing that, and then you can slowly start talking to people more socially, actually have conversations with strangers. I know, it's crazy. And reason 2 is, it's not misogyny. This is just a fact, and it's how the world works. But when a woman is upset, but the earth will turn for her, her parents will come down and come and make sure she's okay. Her boyfriend will come home early for work. Her girlfriends will be sat on the phone speaking to her, comforting her. But when a man's upset, do you know what happens to most men when they say, to one of their mates, oh, yeah, it's really got me down, man. I'll stop being a pussy. What are you, gay? Stop being a bitch. They just get told to man up. And that's, it's so toxic, but, that's just the way things are. It's just like I said, how the world works. Girls have these crazy social bonds that I've got an issue. Oh, I'll come over and help it right now. But then most guys, I'm very, very lucky to have a close group of friends, about 4 or 5 of us. And if I was to message the group chat that something had happened or I needed to talk or something, I know at least one of them would be awake and be good to talk to me on the phone for however long he needed, whenever. But that's the thing, most men don't have that nowadays, because they just get called a pussy or gay for having emotions. And it isn't healthy to bottle up all your emotions. And I know exactly why people do it, and of course I'm guilty of doing it. It's human nature. People don't mean to do it, but when a man admits, this thing's really got me down, I'm really struggling with this problem, it just, this is what you think of them, they get knocked down a little bit, and you lose a little bit of respect for them. You don't consciously think, oh, it's a bit of a pussy. You might do, but most people, it's not a conscious decision. You just naturally think a little bit less of them. But if that happens 3-4 times, you just start to think, oh, he's a little bit weak, isn't he? You can't handle a bit of stress. And that's just how they're perceived. Because, back a few hundred years ago, if someone was leading an army and they were perceived as not having a plan, not being able to deal with the stress of going to war, all of this stuff, they're not fit to be leader. Someone else needs to take charge and be the leader. And that's, humans, brains don't evolve over a short time. It takes millions of years for the brain to evolve. So, a tribe leader or someone you look up to or someone you respect, if they are acting a little bit emotional and they're letting themselves go a bit, of course you're going to think less of them, because It's just in our brain. It's just nature. And I think the last reason why, probably the most important, is no one really cares. Like, honestly, if you say you are on the phone to someone you're not that close with, you're like your mates, you would hang out with them, but you wouldn't call them and say, "Yo, do you want to hang out?" You would speak to them if they were there, but you wouldn't consciously make the effort to contact them. If you told them, "I am going through a little bit of a rough patch right now," they wouldn't really care. They may say, "Oh, how come? What's up? Oh, that sucks. Sorry to hear that." But they don't really give a shit. But they will not. They will not not try to help, but they won't remember. They won't remember that interaction. They won't remember what's going on. And I'm not saying they should, but people just don't care. Like if you were speaking to not just women, but if you were to speak to a woman about your issues, she would it links into the last point, but she would think, well, he's being a bit whiny, he can't even deal with his girlfriend leaving him, bit weak. But people just, it's like they just say man up, And those two points are very similar. They're very linked. But I thought there's enough of a difference to separate them, because people not caring and something that's ingrained in our brain for millions of years, it's a bit different. We can change. I know we've got Movember, mental health awareness, but there's people online saying, "Oh, Movember is sexist, it's misogynistic," and it's like, how the fuck is prostate cancer and men's mental health awareness sexist? Anyway, we've gone over why, but there is definitely ways to, deal with it. There's definitely positive and there's definitely negative ways that people deal with it. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the negative ways that people deal with it before the positive way. And I've got 4 here. And they range in order of danger to the person. So the first one won't be that bad, and the last one will be, the worst. And number 1 is porn. A lonely man has obviously not got anyone there to comfort him. So he looks for comfort in seeing women getting used online. And, even worse than porn is OnlyFans, because you can just go on there, she messaged back, well, I only had to pay £5 for that message. It's like, you're paying women to pretend to care about you. That's what OnlyFans is, It is sad that that's what it's come down to. Yes, that's what it's come to. Men can't even find women to fuck, so they, go on porn and Pornhub. Pornhub has millions, probably billions of users a week. If not billions, hundreds of millions of users, hundreds of millions of views, probably billions of views a week as well. Jesus, yeah. OnlyFans, man. Fuck that site. And I hate that. I hate the fucking point. Well, OnlyFans is good because it lets men release their stress, and masturbation is actually healthy because it reduces prostate cancer. It's like, fucking hell. It might reduce prostate cancer, but just don't. There's these things called carcinogens, and they're things that cause cancer, and they're in everything like around us. Not everything, but there's a lot of things around us that are carcinogens, and it's like fuck up your mental health and release your seed, and get that post-nut depression, post-nut clarity, whatever you want to say, or remove these negative things from your life, and you get the same result: less chance of getting prostate cancer. It's kind of like, do you want to fuck your life up more, or do you want to make your life better in two ways? But yeah. The second point is video games, and I used to be a chronic video gamer. I would spend like 8 hours a day on it. On my vice was Siege. I used to play a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, like a lot. I think I ended up having like 800, 900 hours on it on my PlayStation 5, probably like 500-600 on PlayStation 4, probably more. It was nuts. And yeah, the reason people play video games is not just, it was fun, oh, I like this video game because you get to run around and explore. Like, well, you could run around and explore in real life. But people play video games to get that sense of brotherhood, that as a team, that's why I used to play Siege, because me and my mate, we would, oh yeah, he's pushing bathroom, we're communicating with as a team, it's life or death. These things, and these men aren't getting that in the modern day. Back in the day, when we used to be in tribes, and we used to have to go in the hunter-gatherer days. You and your men from your tribe would go out and hunt this lion, and you would, have to hunt it down and coordinate your attack. Send your son over there with 3 men, take him from this side. It's the exact same. Oh yeah, I'll flank around. Well, back in the hunter-gatherer days, you would have to flank a lion and hope you had enough men. Otherwise, the women and children of your tribe would starve and die. But they also play video games to escape from the dull, modern, suppressed life. Like I was talking about the hunter-gatherer times. Life was so vibrant back then. If I want to, it's like those painting apps. I never understand painting apps. It's like, yeah, you might not have the money to buy, paintbrushes and paint, but that's not really a very good excuse. You can go and buy some paper and paintbrushes for £1, and some paint. Acrylic paint isn't that expensive, for like £1 a tube. And it's like, you do all these things on technology that you could do in the real life. Like I said, you could go and explore. Open world games they made. Oh, you can go and explore and do all these cool things. Or you can go and explore outside. But yeah. Number 3 is drugs to escape, and I'm not too knowledgeable on this, but yeah. I had a lot of experience with video games and porn addiction, but not too much with drugs, so I won't touch on it much. But lonely men will do anything to get a sense of, like, not just purpose, but like, lonely men are not getting the dopamine that they would from, their girlfriend calling them cute, or their boys saying, "Oh damn, but you're looking big today." They won't get the dopamine from that because they don't have anyone. And if this is you, well, the next point will help, honestly. But yeah, that's what they go into drugs for. It's just the instant gratification, the dopamine. You're shooting up your arm. Literally 20 seconds later, you're nearly passed out. You're in this euphoric state. You're just like on the bed. But yeah, people say like, oh, I smoke weed to relax. Like, you don't need weed to relax or to be creative, you know. You can do all those things without it. It just makes you like numb to things, like more numb than you would be. And the last point, number 4, the worst, suicide. Talked about it at the start, but interesting fact, 80% of people who commit suicide are men. Now, there might be a reason for that. Well, there's definitely a reason for it. But, you know, it could be that we're just better at killing ourselves, but I doubt that's the reason, you know. It's just down to men having no drive, no purpose, and when they have no drive, no purpose, they feel lonely. You know, if you think about it, if a man has no drive and no purpose, then he won't have the wealth and the status that women are naturally drawn and attracted to. So if he doesn't have the women and the status, then he'll be more lonely. And, you know, the more lonely you are, the more, well, it's not proven, so, but theoretically, the more lonely you are, the more likely you are to kill yourself. I mean, suicide rates in the UK rose during like COVID-19, you know, the lockdown, pandemic, and all that, because men were, not just men, but people were more lonely. You know, they had no one to see. You know, imagine you're living on your own. Imagine you've just moved out of your house. Imagine, and you're on your own for like 9 months, and then, oh, we're finally out of lockdown. You know, this is just the UK, but we had that, and then we had that firebreaker a few months later. Oh, you know, we're finally out, and then literally 3 months later, over Christmas, lockdown again. And these men, you know, they were finally going back out. You know, they were going for drinks with the boys, and then boom, straight back into the abyss. And I think it's just sad. And I think the only way that we can stop and like find better ways to cope or even just prevent the loneliness of the modern men and the modern generation that you and I are probably both feeling. Even if you've got a girlfriend, you're probably still feeling pretty lonely, you know, in other aspects. I think the only real way to fix it is brotherhood. Having a strong network of men around you who you can rely on and who you can truly trust with the thoughts inside your head. Because that's what stopped me feeling, you know, I was like happy, you know, full on lonely, you know, on the verge of dying. I was probably not even halfway. I was, you know, nowhere near. But I thought I was, you know, so much lower. But then I realized that there's men that are so much worse than me. And one of my mates, he was genuinely contemplating. And I remember he messaged me something at like 3, 4 a.m. Bro, I was sat talking to him for hours. And he just needed to talk to someone. That's it. He needed to talk to someone. Like, I wouldn't say I saved his life, but, you know, I stopped him doing something so dumb, literally by having a conversation with him. Bro, a conversation can save someone's life. How crazy is that? These young people are so, like, us young people are so deprived of genuine human connection that one conversation can save someone's life. One small, you know, 2 hours saved his life of talking to a friend. insane. It's just so sad to see what state this world has like devolved into. And so, you know, to join like-minded men who don't want to feel lonely and they don't want to regress into porn or video games or even worse, drugs, maybe even suicide. You know, if you're doing any of those things or you're feeling like doing that, then maybe, and you've got here, if you've got to this point, then subscribe, bro. You'll enjoy the content that I'm putting out. There'll be, hopefully, a lot of people to speak to very soon. Very like-minded men. People who just want to live a good life, be strong, you know, go to the gym, not feel suicidal, not feel depressed, not feel anxious the second they step out of their house because they could get stabbed. You know, people like us, you and me. Anyway, I think that's all for today's video. It's gotten pretty long, but yeah. Have a good day and a great week.